What's up, girl? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I know the intros are always awkward because let's be real, on podcasts, we always do a little talk before we actually press record. So
hmm
let me do a little introduction and then I'm going to basically start firing questions. But I
Okay.
have none other than the Chelsea Gonzales on the podcast today. And I've had the honor of coaching a fall season of junior college ball with her. And that's kind of where our relationship started. But one of the coolest things for me as a mom was to sit back and watch my daughter on the field with you, Chelsea. When she would come and get reps, you always made a point to like go out of your way to go talk to her. And
hmm
it kind of keeps things humble, I think, for my kid, because like I talk about all your accolades and she's just like, cool. Like
Yeah.
all I know her for is Bidi Bidi Bum Bum on her leg.
Yep. I love
So
that. I love that.
yeah, so I just want to like give you kind of a little platform here to talk about your origin story, like when you knew you wanted to play softball,
hmm
kind of the turning point, like if it was one big play or one testament of adversity that pushed you even harder. So
hmm
when did Chelsea decide she wanted to play softball?
So I started playing softball at a really early age. I was about like 3.5, almost 4 years old. The only reason why I got into softball was my older sister. My older sister is 3 years older than me. And so it was kind of something to do like on the weekends. She had already started. So my parents were like, you know what, let's see if Chelsea wants to play. And I ended up, going at a young age. I didn't really understand, it's something to do, something like
Right.
for fun. But around the age of 8 and 9, I started doing travel ball. And I think that's when it kind of hit me like, hey, this is kind of what I want to do. Just because traveling to play something you love was definitely something cool and something different.
Mhm.
And I kind of got to go back to school and no other kids were kind of doing it. So it was just something new and something, that the other kids didn't hear of. So I felt kind of like, okay, like this is definitely different. So around the age of 9 is when I think I first got on my first travel ball team. And that is kind of where, I fell in love. I didn't think of it as being a big deal as it is now, I want to say, just because it was just something new and I was getting into it. But I didn't realize the journey I was going into playing travel ball. I had no idea about like, even college at that point, because I was so young that, I didn't know like, hey, if I keep working hard, I can maybe get a scholarship until maybe like the age of like 11 or 12. That's kind of where, hey, do you want to play in college? It was kind of like a factor that we talked about. And then that's kind of where it hit. Yes, I do want to play in college. And so that's kind of where, you start working hard, start looking at the different schools, seeing what kind of environment you want to be in, and seeing at the end of the day if you still want to continue to play. So around, I know those are three different ages I kind of threw at you,
No, those
but
those
that's
are,
kind of,
but let me throw this out there though. As a coach of almost 24 years, 11 and 12 years old is a powerful age for a female
hmm
athlete. I don't know about boys. I mean, yes, I have two boys of my own, but personally speaking, as a female athlete and watching my daughter, that's kind of where you decide. Like, you're either going to be
100%.
boy crazy, you're going to be basketball crazy, like, or you're
Yeah.
going to be softball crazy.
A
So,
hundred percent. I think one day at practice, I was 12 years old. I'll never forget this. This is the only time I've ever thought of it. I had the worst practice ever. And I told my dad, because he was one of the coaches, I was like, I don't want to play anymore. Like, I want to quit. And then he literally looked at me and he's like, you want to quit? Like, you don't want to play in college or you don't want to do the things you talked about. And then I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to. I want to keep playing.
that's good
There was
though.
just one split moment. There's just, I had a rough practice. I was like, you know what? No. And then he like turned me back into reality. I was like, yeah, you're right. That was crazy. I don't know why I thought that. But that was legit my whole life. That was the one time I ever thought about quitting. And
Wow.
I shut that right off.
I love that. We
Yeah.
need to bottle that and give that away and pass it out in dugouts because
For real.
I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of girls are so quick to quit. Like as soon as
Mm-hmm.
it gets tough, they're done,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like let's
But
talk about
yeah.
that. Like as 11 and 12, you decided you had that one moment. How did you separate yourself as that athlete, knowing that you were playing with girls that were going to have moments like that?
It's definitely hard, and I feel like yes, you're maturing at that age, but you still are, you're still little in a sense. So I think in that moment, I kind of, just went into this little like not dark place, but I was just like, you know what? It's just this is something I don't want to do. And then I just looked at my dad, and I think in that moment, I looked at him because he's been my coach my entire life. So I just looked at him, and knowing that he's put in all this hard work for me, just because I wanted to keep playing, I was like, no, I can't do that. Like he got me here, so I can't do that to him. I can't do that to me. I can't do that to my family. Like this is something I want to do and something I put the work in. And there, I was very fortunate that they got to drive me to places. They got to drive me to practice games. We got to travel and everything. Like I couldn't do that to them. So I think just in that moment, I thought of everybody else but me in a sense. So I think nowadays, I think, and it's sad to say, but I think some kids just take it like I'm not happy, like, this is me, in a sense to, who got you there and everything around you. So you just have to kind of separate that moment, you have to separate the you and everyone else. And if truly, truly, truly deep down you're like, I do not want to play, then okay, it's not for you. But I think so many kids are so quick to, quit. And it's sad. It's so sad to see, or like coaches and some parents, they take away that joy from, the kids. And it makes me so sad because this is the funnest. No, I don't even know if that's a word. This is like,
Hey,
you
on my
know,
podcast, we make up words.
yeah, this is like a really fun sport, and it just breaks my heart that, girls quit at such a young age just because of the negative energy around them.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
just
and
hard.
the way I really try to flip the script and apply a lot of softball into my everyday life is it's a revolving door. Like I know you'll agree with me on this, but next to the Bible, the game of softball is the blueprint for life, right?
Hmm.
Like I, it has helped me deal with so much adversity, like
Hmm.
off the field, on the field, how to deal with negativity, how to deal with rotten parents, how to deal with parents that don't understand boundaries, right? And I
Hmm.
like the fact that
100%.
your dad was your coach. I was speaking with Ashley Burkhart last week. Her dad coached her too, and then my mom coached me. So I'm attracting my people, my coaches' kids
Hmm.
that are adults now, and I love it. Um,
Yes, 100%.
did you ever feel like as a coach's kid that girls or even other parents were like, Chelsea's getting this because her dad's a coach? Or did your dad, was he able to, I guess, get a group of people that saw the big vision, that didn't say things like that?
Hmm. My dad is, he was always the assistant coach, so he was never the head coach.
Nice.
But I definitely, in a sense, I kind of proved them that my dad doesn't have to say stuff in order for me to like get playing time or something like that. Like I was always the one, we would come in early. I would either hit, take ground balls, like I would ask for that. And they just kind of saw that, I was putting in the work, and that, just because I was a coach's daughter, I wasn't getting the playing time, just because I was, his daughter. I was getting the playing time because I was putting the work in, and it was showing. And like, so everybody could see it in a way.
Mhm.
But yeah, my dad was always like kind of the silent coach. He was like the assistant coach that was like really quiet, but every day at our house, he'd be like, "All right, like let's go hit in the backyard. Let's go do this in the backyard. Okay, you have to do jump rope, you have to do something, some type of workout." So on the field, he was quiet, but at home, he would like tell me like what to do and like coach me up. So,
I like that. I know that's something I deal with personally with my daughter being 12. And
mhm.
now we have, I mean, how old were you when you got a cell phone?
I think I was 10 just because it was a buy one, get one free, and my mom got her phone. So I had to get the phone that was for free.
I love that. And now, I mean, phones are portable
Hmm.
televisions. I mean, it's just, I
Exactly.
know that just aged me a little bit, but That's one thing that I know I struggle with my daughter is she goes to a school where you're gonna love this, by the way. This school is for the athletic kid. It's 7:30 to 12:30, 5 days a week. And it's a public school, so there's no tuition and it feeds right into the public school system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do that. They'll drop kids off at facilities. They get extra hitting in or dancers, swimmers, hockey players, like everything.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, you would like it. Main mission is to give kids more quality time with their family and time to study. And because
Oh, nice.
practice is always going to be there. So
Yes.
that's one thing that Daniel and I, my husband, we were talking about. Mars coming in the door when she's not getting shipped to the facility and hitting or pitching or taking, picks. So
100%.
I like that you said that because I feel like, especially my daughter's generation, they need to hear that. They need to hear that you were doing something every day.
Yes.
It's not just the
Even when I
weekend
didn't want
wonders that
to.
make
Yeah.
you a great player.
Mhm.
I like that. Now,
Mhm.
speaking of daughters, is your daughter moving around?
Yeah, she's moving.
So you guys, Chelsea has a baby girl. She's almost 2.5 months.
She's almost 3 months old.
3 months. Gosh, dang it. Time flies. Time
I know.
flies.
I know. I'm like, she's moving a lot.
So
Which
she
is,
might
I
be
wanted
making,
her to sleep in. Yeah, I
yeah.
wanted her to sleep in just because we had a rough night last night. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, wait, she's crying. Let me go get her really quickly
Okay.
and then I'll
No
come.
worries.
Yep. Sorry about that.
You're good. I'm just gonna pause it. All
Hi,
right.
Mama.
Hi, chunky monkey. Oh,
You
she's
hungry?
so cute.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, I mean,
Like, what is
perfect timing. Leilani decided I'm going to show up right when you guys start talking about waters.
exactly?
I love it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about life and softball because I know for me, it was the Olympians watching the Olympic team go play Oklahoma Baptist University. That
Hmm.
was the trigger for me. That was like, oh my gosh, this is a reality. I could do
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
And I know for other girls, especially the girls I coach, when they hear this, it's going to be one more brick that helps them build that foundation of doing it. Because,
Hmm.
hello, we're literally watching you right now. Like your mom, you're playing professional softball, like you're doing the dang thing. So,
Hmm.
how did you know? Because when I met you, you were not playing professionally.
Hmm.
So, like, how does that, was it like a gap year, quote unquote, or did you even know it was a
Yes.
possibility?
So we had, let me see, the Olympics like kind of throw me off. Okay, so the Olympics were in 2021 last year. Okay, so after the Olympics, I was not planning on playing ever really again. Like that was like my last, hoorah, just because I had talked with some girls from Athletes Unlimited, which is that other league that's going
Yep.
on. And they kind of were just like, if you want to try out, like just let us know. So then I was like, like I was debating about doing it. And then I finally was just like, I'm just going to send an email. Like I just sent an email. And then I didn't really hear anything back. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I left, my cleats at, the biggest stage of softball.
Yeah.
And so then around March last year, so yeah, like almost a year ago, I got the phone call that there's a new league coming out and asked if I wanted to play. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, like I'll do it. So yeah, that was around March. And then I think I had signed my contract like in the next couple of weeks. I read it and everything. And then April 29th, I found out I was pregnant with her.
Don't
So
you love
I was
how life
like,
works?
okay. So then I tried to time it really well, and I ended up timing it perfect that the end of our league was my 20 weeks, and that's when I couldn't play after that. So it ended up working up perfect.
That's so crazy. And what
I
a
know.
story. Like, I know on your social media, a lot of people chime in about she got to be there with you during that time,
I
like
know.
first baby.
I know. No one knew too. So I didn't tell any of my teammates or my coaches until probably the last week, just because I didn't want them to kind of treat me different in a way, just
Yeah.
because if I would have told them, they would have been like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" So I kind of just played it out. And when I ended up telling them, they were like, "Oh, that's why you take naps all the time. Oh, that's why." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, pretty much. I'm growing a
Yeah.
human.
And I'm the oldest one on the team. So they were like, "We just thought you were just old." And I'm like, "Well, that too, but I also I have a baby." So
Oh my gosh. So it's
yeah,
crazy. So,
definitely
so
it was fun in a way, but it was hard for
well,
sure.
I love how everything played out. Like on social media, your little
Mhm.
announcement, and then when you guys
Mhm.
did the gender reveal, like you do a really good job at sharing that aspect of your life. I think it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And just watching you, like, doing some homework with you, playing at ASU, like looking into that, knowing that you played for Team Mexico for the Olympics and now you're at that professional league and you signed your second contract. That was recently, right?
Yeah, I had actually so the last week of playing, my managers didn't know again that I was pregnant. So we had our exit interviews and they were telling me, "Okay, like we want you back. We have a contract for you." And I kind of was just like, "All right, well, I have something I need to tell you." And they were like, "What?" And then I was like, I think I was like, "I'm 20 weeks pregnant," or something like that. And they were like, "Oh my gosh," and everything. So they were like really excited, but they knew I was pregnant and they still had faith in me to play. So they were like, "Yeah, here's your contract." So I was really thankful for that, that they believed in me that much, that even though I'm gonna have a baby, that, that I could still play. So
Hmm.
I was very, very fortunate of that.
Well, and I think that's empowering to women in professional sports to know
Mm-hmm.
that you are representing a company, an organization who supports the fact that you're going to have a baby because that's kind of what
100%.
we're made to do, knowing that not everybody can, but they
Mm-hmm.
very well could have easily said, nope. They very well
Mm-hmm.
could have put in the contract that, each woman has to take a pregnancy test before
Mm-hmm.
signing a contract.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
instead, they're embracing the entire woman.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes, they were.
love
I was very, very fortunate. They were really excited about it, and excited for her to come this summer. And they did say that. They were like, "You know what? Like, women, like, this is something we have to do, and we can't just let you not play. Like that's totally unfair. We want you to come and play, and show the world that even moms could come back and do
it.
this."
Yes.
Yeah, so I was very, very fortunate that, they gave me a chance, and, I'm coming back for the second season.
I love it. By the way, those are the best bottles ever,
Yeah.
Dr. Brown's.
Sometimes they leak a little bit, but I'll forgive them.
They're good for baby's tummy.
Yes.
She's so cute.
Um, Thank you.
So, what position are you playing with this team?
So I started off at second base and then I moved to shortstop.
All right, middle infielder. I
For
like
sure.
it.
Yeah.
And
I don't know why. I can't, I feel like I can't play any other positions. I know a lot of players are like, "Yeah, like put me anywhere, coach." But I am very fearful of, the corners. That is too close.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
short and second give you a little bit more time to get set,
exactly.
and that was one of the things I loved watching you do at practice at South was when you would get out
Hmm.
there and demonstrate how to get down.
Yeah.
And I was like, gosh, just look at her go. I can really watch
Yeah, it
her.
was always fun. Yeah, it was always fun to go into the practices.
Yeah. And you were always so good with the girls. You were like, even before Leilani was a twinkle in your eye, like mom to mom, I could tell that you were going to be a good mom just because of how you spoke into the girls,
Hmm.
and
For
I'm
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer like on coaching staff there's good cop, bad cop kind of thing,
Hmm.
but I think for you it's you had just played at so many different levels. You kept it simple
Hmm.
for them.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. You kind of have to in a way, just because, you know, I like you said, just the different levels. Like my boyfriend, he went to a junior college, and just I have like I've talked to him a lot about like the girls at South, and sometimes like it was hard to talk to them. I'm not gonna lie, but just talking with him, and he was just like, like maybe try this way. So I did, and then they were like, yeah, like I understand what you're
They
talking about. And
received
I'm like,
it.
okay, cool. Like, yes, yes, yeah, I know all this stuff, but yeah.
No, you did.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
of course. I mean, the fact that the girls that you play with consider you to be the old one, you change the script. Say, I'm the wise one.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely hard. I know when I got there and I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I'm 27." To me, I'm like, that's a good age." And they're like, "Oh
Right.
yeah, like we're like 21, 22." I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm definitely the old one on the team."
That's so funny.
So, I know.
Well, what are like, I know a lot of girls that aspire to be professional softball players or professional athletes. We don't have the MLB money yet in the professional softball world. I feel like
Hmm.
professional softball has to fight a lot of battles still that MLB maybe never had to fight. Um, so I know like for a lot of professional softball players, they don't get paid the millions and have to
Hmm.
have or not have to have a part-time job. So like
Hmm.
what does life look like for you, Chelsea? Do you have a 9 to 5 or are you supported through the professional team or does your boyfriend like where does that fit in your equation of life?
Hmm. So right now we're still in a contract with the WPF. We're signed for a year.
Okay.
So we do get paid. We get paid pretty good for the 2 months that we're playing. But for right now, I am a stay-at-home mom just because she's so young
Yeah.
still. And I'm very fortunate that I have the support of my boyfriend and his mom. We actually moved back into her house just so she can help us out. And I'm very, very fortunate to have them. So right now, I'm not working. I do plan to get a job after season.
Mhm.
I just want to kind of get a job where I can take her. So possibly go into the softball route again. Try coaching. Not sure where, but trying to get into the coaching part and see if I can, help anybody out in a way. But I would love to, take her with me. Me and her are so close right now. I can't even picture about me leaving her like to go to a job. So,
No, I get it. Like Marley, all
hmm.
of our kids grew up on the dirt. Like the boys were
Hmm.
always with me. Um, if Marley wasn't me, she was with her dad at the field, but like I
Yes.
totally get it.
Hmm.
It was probably one of the coolest experiences to have all three kids with
Exactly.
me all the time. Um,
Hmm.
well, you let me know because I know in the past I had talked to you because you were doing lessons and I was like,
Hmm.
hey, girl, you have so much to offer.
Hmm.
And when you're ready to step out into that realm, I want to help you. I want to extend a hand. Being a professional pitching instructor in like the fifth largest city in the nation,
Hmm.
it's easier for me to say. It was hard for me to say it when I started doing it, but I've got my feet in the ground. I'm creating my space with my people. I have my
Hmm.
separation factors. Like
Hmm.
I make sure that my girls, we have quality, connections, but we also have quality practices. So it's not
Hmm.
just, you know, in the grass behind a field catching the city lights when they're on when somebody else is practicing. It's like
Yeah.
me at this facility at this time, all my tools will be there. So
Hmm.
when it comes time for you to break out and do that, you let me know because I would love to just
I
offer
appreciate it.
a hand. Of course, of course.
Hmm.
It's huge. It's huge to be able
Yes.
to step out and do that. But at the same time, the bigger responsibility comes a little bit more bigger. I don't
Hmm.
want to say nerves, but it's kind of nerves and it's kind of excitement. It's like a mixture.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the Vipers. I noticed on their social media, it's SIS Vipers. And it's like, what does the acronym stand for? I just want to hear you say it. SIS
Wait for
Vipers.
the.
Yeah, for the Vipers. When I was looking at Instagram the other day, this whole time I'm going like, oh, Vipers, Vipers. But when I look, I was like, well, maybe it's related to the owners. Like, I don't know. Let me check it out. I'm gonna pull it
So,
up right now.
oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, it says SIS Vipers, Smash It Sports Vipers.
So
So
we're sponsored by Smash It
Smash It
Sports.
Sports. Okay, that was my question.
Yes.
I was like, I think that's important for people to know
For
because when
sure.
I went there, I was like, hey, have I been under a rock? Because I swear it always just said Vipers, but I'm pretty sure it said.
Yeah, so it's funny because so my boyfriend, he's into slow pitch like competitively,
Yes.
like they'll go travel and stuff like that. So he when we got told that, hey, we're going to be sponsored by Smash It Sports, I'm like, where have I heard that before? And it has a lot to do with like slow pitch. So it's kind of weird how both of our worlds are like connecting in a way. So I'm like, what the heck? So it was pretty cool because he knows all that stuff. So when I had told him, oh yeah, we're being sponsored by Smash It Sports, he's like, that's really big, like that's good. And I was like, okay. Like I had no idea.
Okay. I'm just here
Yeah, I
to
was like,
play.
okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So
Well, how
it
did
was
you
pretty
guys
cool.
meet?
Me and my boyfriend,
Yeah.
we had mutual friends on Facebook, and then we just added each other and just kind of connected over social media. And then about 2 years ago, we were friends before, and then what's it called? We were friends before, and then we just kind of, hung out a lot and everything. So then it kind of turned into, we ended up having feelings for each other, and then now we're here.
Well, I remember the early phase because
Yes.
that's when we were coaching together at South. I remember you were
Yeah.
still in that early phase and you were so like,
100%.
I just talked to my boyfriend.
Yep.
He's so excited.
And I'm like, that sounds weird to say, but yeah.
No, you were so excited.
hmm
Yeah, I like following like I see what you post of his story with the whole softball, slow pitch softball. And
hmm
Daniel played a lot of my husband played a lot of slow pitch softball.
Yes.
So
It's a
he
big thing out here in Arizona.
like what is it it's the one is it the Mexican Nationals? Is what
I'm
is
not
it?
sure.
I don't know, but it's like you think the way it's presented is just for Hispanic culture, but it's not like
hmm
and my husband used to go pretty much every year, probably I want to say 9 years into our marriage, he would
Oh,
go
wow.
and he's like a quarter, like his grandma's from
hmm
Mexico and stuff. And so I just always thought that was how he was able to get in. And he's like, no.
hmm
And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's so
anybody can play.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, that's cool. But
I
I like
know. Yeah,
the
they have like these big tournaments and everything. Like we're gonna go to Vegas at the end of the month. So
yeah, Las Cruces, New Mexico has a big one. Um,
hmm
my best friend, El Paso, I think, or somewhere around there. My best friend,
hmm
her and her boyfriend play in these tournaments together. I'm like,
hmm
you're nuts. Like,
hmm
she's crazy. Like, she played 4 years college ball. She was actually my first client.
Oh,
And
okay, nice.
yeah, just to like when we stayed close throughout the years.
hmm
She was one of the girls that was playing first, and those men don't play around. They throw the
Yeah.
ball, and she lost it in the sun, and it poof right out and broke her face.
Oh
Um,
my
oh
gosh.
yeah, she slid into second in a really bad complex, and when she sent me the picture of her ankle, it looked like ground beef.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
"Are you? When are
crazy.
you gonna be done?"
Yeah, it is crazy. They're built different for
They
sure.
are. They're really
Because
built
me,
different.
I'm so used to playing on turf that if I were to go play and there's like bumps in the dirt, I'm like, I'm okay. They don't care what kind of like dirt it is. They're like players, they're ballers.
Yeah,
They're gonna go through it and everything. So
that's so
yeah.
cool. Well,
hmm
with that, I wanted to just kind of like I feel like it's big for your culture, you know, your heritage. And I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit. Like, is your family from Spain or is your family from Mexico? Like how did your family come to America? Like how did that happen?
So it was my great great grandparents. They're from Guadalajara in Mexico. So they came over and started their life in La Habra, California. And I'm very fortunate that, my grandparents were from there. Both my grandparents were from there. And then my parents went to high school there. So it's kind of like they're still in that city right now. So yeah, so it's very cool, you know, to
Yeah.
have that you know, experience of everybody living in the same city. So we never had to travel far. All of our family is pretty much from La Habra, so it's really nice, you know, when we have like family gatherings and stuff, we just it's like a 5 minute drive
I
regardless.
love
So
that.
yeah.
That's so cool. I
Hmm.
love the fact that you're very humble about your platform. Um,
Hmm.
you inspired Marley. I'm going to tell you right now. So,
Hmm.
like I was telling you,
Yay.
my husband's grandma is from Mexico. I forget what part, but her mom came over from Spain.
Hmm.
And Marley, you've seen her. She's blonde-headed, blue
Yes.
eyes. She'll flat out tell somebody that's Hispanic she's
Yeah.
more than they are. And I'm like, stop it. But
Yeah.
she told me, she was like, I want to play for Team Mexico. I
Hmm.
can do it. I can prove that my lineage goes to Mexico.
Hmm.
Yeah. But after she met you and like connected the dots, she was like, I can totally do that.
Yeah.
So
Any
I'm
like,
like,
you know, if you truly want to play for, you know, your country or your parents' country, like do it. Like I'm all for playing international ball. Like I would never have traveled to all these different countries if it wasn't for me playing, you know. I got to travel to Japan, like to Peru, to Australia, all these different places that I would never be able to travel to if I wasn't playing, you
yeah,
know. So I was very, very fortunate. And, you know, just getting to experience the different cultures in that way, like going to Mexico and having, you know, the people there like welcome us in and almost treat us as if we're like almost like
royalty.
royalty in a
Yeah.
way. Yeah. And, you know, just being able to play for them was just so much different than like what we were, you know, thinking in a way. You know, they would come up to us and be like, thank you, you know, thank you for putting us on the map, putting us like our flag out there and, you know, just getting, you know, getting to experience all that with, you know, Mexico across our chest, you know, was definitely a really, really good experience.
Well, I mean, the fact that you were able to just spit off, where your grandparents and their parents, like that's huge because not a lot of people can pull that up that quick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
big time. So I feel like you step up to the plate with a different demeanor. It's
Mm-hmm.
not representing Chelsea, it's representing everything that has built Chelsea.
100%. Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do want to ask you about your tryouts for Team
Okay.
Mexico. Like, how was that experience? Like, were there any moments where you just didn't know, or were you pretty like, I can do this? Not I got this, but I can do this.
Hmm. So I actually got approached to play for Mexico when I was at ASU after my freshman year. And
Wow.
me being the dumb 18-year-old, you know how we never have summers off. We
Yeah, right.
never have summers off. I was like, you know, like maybe I'll try next year, you know. And then when next year came and I got asked, oh, maybe try next year, like, and it just kept going and going until after my senior year. They asked me again, and I was like, you know what, like, yes, like I'll try. So I ended up trying out for the Mexican national team. We went to California and we played a couple games. And honestly, I really didn't think I did that good. You know, I wasn't really like playing as much as, you know, I thought because I didn't know what to expect.
Mhm.
It was more so, hey, these are the girls on the Mexican national team, but you're going to be this is your trial with them. You know, this isn't like, hey, we're going to have open tryouts, come like get a couple reps in, like we'll see like balls off the bat and everything. No, it was like, hey, you're going to play in some games with the girls. So I was definitely nervous. I didn't really get as much playing time because again, the starters were pretty much there.
Mhm.
And then I just had I just had talked to the coach a lot, and he was just telling me like I had a great career at ASU. He's watched me all 4 years, and you know, I kind of just put my name out there, like, yes, I'm really interested in playing. You know, this is something I've wanted. You know, and I'm gonna work hard for it and everything. And then I got another tryout with them, and that's when I think I did like really, really, really good. And then that's when they officially asked me to join.
That's awesome. That's
Hmm.
crazy that you're like, I don't think I really did that good. And
Yeah, but thank goodness I had a second chance because if that didn't happen, then yeah.
And I think that
it's just because I didn't get a lot of playing time. I didn't really get to show them what I could do, you know?
but in that, by not getting the playing time, they were probably watching you to see what your reaction was going to be. Plus, they watched you
Mm-hmm.
for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they were probably waiting to see when you were going to crack, and you just
Mm-hmm.
stayed constant. And that to me is a differential from team me versus team we,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that was
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the biggest things where the tides turned and you were able
Mm-hmm.
to have that opportunity and own it. So
Mm-hmm. For sure.
that,
Yep. I agree.
how was it playing with Taylor?
Oh my God, it was amazing. She's still my
I
best friend to this
Man, I
day.
loved watching her play. I love telling her story about her eye to my girls. I'm like, don't ever think that you can't do something. Like, oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. Yeah, I just seen her last weekend for the ASU alumni game. They're
yeah,
playing U of A, so yeah, I got to see her. So it was good. Yeah, I still keep in contact with her because sometimes my boyfriend he'll go play in Tucson, so we'll stay at her house. But I never would have pictured me and her being best friends, to be honest, because she was a Wildcat and I was a Sun Devil. So, but it ended up working out really good. So she's an awesome person, and it's so funny because when we would be watching TV back in the day when she was still playing, she had like an ESPN like video about like her whole story, and I'm just sitting there like, hey, that's my friend. Like it was just awesome. Like I love just seeing her be successful and be like, accomplishing all her goals and everything. And she killed it last year with Athletes Unlimited. Like I remember just watching her and she was just dominating in the mound. So
yeah,
yeah, very, very proud of her.
yeah. She was fun to watch play for U
Hmm.
of A. And it was crazy when the story came out. I was like, what? Like,
Yes.
you're kidding me, right? Like,
Yeah.
no way. So, and I
I
love
got
the
to play
fact,
against her in high school. So we knew about her story like
oh,
back
wow.
then. Because she's from California too.
Okay.
So I played against her. And then, when I think she was committed to Oklahoma State. And then she decommitted and went to U of A. And I was like, oh, crap. I have to face her.
Dang it. But
I
that
know.
truly is. I mean, that I tell my girls all the time when like, especially if we're playing against somebody and they're like, oh, that girl, they'll be negative. And I'm like, stop. Because I
Hmm.
guarantee you are either going to A, play on the same college team, or B, you're
Hmm.
going to play against each other. You guys will be in the
100%.
same community. So figure it out, you know.
100%.
And
Hmm.
the fact that you're a Sun Devil and she's a Wildcat, like that speaks volumes
Hmm.
because
100%. Yeah.
there's a lot you guys, that's the rival right there.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's awesome.
Yeah. We
So
always joke about it for sure.
I bet, I mean,
Hmm.
I, it's like you were posting pictures of the story in the alumni game, and
Hmm.
I'm over here like rooting for Team Chelsea because it's like
Yeah.
love the fact, but I've always been a U of A fan, and the reasoning for that has been when I moved to New Mexico in the middle of my junior year, my mom would take me to U of A's softball camp,
Oh, okay.
and Mike Kendrea he was so impactful in just the week that I was there, and
He
then his
changes
staff,
lives for sure.
yeah, and I literally was like, ASU what? Like, and then I moved down here and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh gosh. Like, I remember Marley's first travel ball practice. We were at Daly Park in Tempe, right behind
Hmm.
the campus. And my daughter gets out of the car with a U of A hoodie. And I was like, oh gosh, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Like
Everyone's gonna look at you.
they did. And even the coaches were like, do you realize where we're at?
Hmm.
Like, I'm
A hundred
sorry.
percent.
And after that, she was so careful about where she would wear anything U of A. I was just like, girl.
Yeah.
So I love it
That's
though.
crazy.
So I'm gonna we're coming to an end here. Leilani has been a boss on this. I've been watching her make
Thank you.
faces. And I want to ask you a couple more questions.
Okay.
And they don't have to be a long answer, but say whatever's on your heart.
Okay.
Um, can you tell me who was, and it could be more than one. So who were the game changers in your life that
I would say,
allowed
oh,
you,
sorry.
no, that allowed you to see that vision?
I would definitely say my family because they were, my biggest supporters even to this day. I'm very, very thankful for everything that they have done to me. I feel like, each person in my family did something for me to get me to where I am today. For instance, my older sister started playing and I watched her play, and that was my role model growing up. Then my dad was, my coach. So he was always like physically there to help me, with the softball, like softball practices, games, all that. And then my mom was just the off field supporter. If I was having a rough day or anything, I could always talk to her about it. She was the one that would drive me to practice, games, anything I needed. And then my little sister, poor thing, had to be dragged to all my games growing up, but she was always there. She never complained. She got to be the ASU announcers sometimes at the game, so she had fun too. But I think just everybody in my family each had a separate role in me becoming who I am today.
I love it. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things that I think parents need to know about their athletes, but it's something that I ask of my athletes, is their why. So what is your why, Chelsea? Like, why do you play softball?
I play softball obviously because I love the game and I love, stepping out in the field every day, but I want to make an impact on the world, and I want to, show little girls that I was in their position one time, and if I can get to where I am today, like they certainly can too. So I just I mostly do it for the little girls who, have the big dreams of playing on the biggest stage one day, to say that like I did it, so you can do it too.
No,
And
I
for
like,
my daughter for sure. I've always
oh yeah,
said that if I have a daughter, I would want her to be able to look at me as a role model for her in life. If it's softball, if it's, being her best friend, anything, someone she could look up to for sure.
I love that. Um, what is one phrase that you tell yourself on game day?
One phrase. I think for me, it's just, I've always been this way too. If I'm not having fun, I know I'm going to have a bad game. I have to always, enjoy, as not like enjoy being there, but just enjoy being in the moment in a way. I'm always the type of player that I'm always laughing, I'm always joking around, because if I'm so serious all the time, I end up doing really, really bad just because that's just not me. I'm always the type to, to run around, have fun. Even if I make a mistake, I'm always gonna tell my pitcher, hey, I got you. Like that's my bad. I'll be better. Like, and especially if I like do bad at the plate, I'm not field. I'm not gonna carry it towards my teammates. I can't, because then that's how I'm gonna be the whole rest of the game. So me, I'm always trying to have fun. So at the end of the day, if I catch myself being serious and stuff, I just no, like, you're here to have fun. This is something you love to do. So
Yeah, I know, and I like that because that shows when, at least I picked it up when you were coaching. You, like I
mhm,
said, you kept it very simple and kept it very fun for the girls, and not
mhm.
light, fluffy, and rainbows and butterflies, but you
Yeah, no, yeah.
you made sure when there was something heavy to say, you chose a time to say it, and you were
Mhm,
always really good about that.
mhm.
Um, and then I got to give this to Ashley Burkhart because when I was on her podcast last week, she asked 3 words that describe me. And it was awesome because rapid fire, 3 words come to your mind. So I'm going to ask you, Chelsea, 3 words that describe Chelsea Gonzales.
I would say fun, loving, and caring for
Yes,
sure.
you are. You definitely. And then the last question, I think, is the most important question on this interview because some people live in regret. I find a lot of parents live vicariously through their kids and their mistakes. But if you could talk to little Chelsea, what is one thing that you could tell her, like piece of advice that you would give her?
I would just say, let's see.
Now, this is going to be hard for you because it sounds like you had a lot of support.
Hmm. I think I would just say, like, don't take life too seriously. Just, again, like, live in the moment, everything happens once sometimes. So you just have to embrace if it's happening to you at that moment, if that makes sense.
Totally does. I mean,
Yeah.
if anybody follows your social media, like there's not going to be a lot of women professional athletes that are going to cut that deadline right at 20 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for
It
your
was
ESPN story. ESPN,
it
I'm
was
calling you out
honestly a
right now.
blessing. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
honestly such a blessing that she couldn't have came at a perfect time in our lives because when I was playing, my grandma at the time, she was, she was getting really sick, and
Mhm.
she was one of the first people I told that I was pregnant. And she ended up unfortunately passing away in September. But I'm so thankful that I got to tell my grandma about her, and we actually her middle name is after her. So I think she came at a very perfect time in our lives for sure. So.
I love that. And we actually talked during that time. Um,
Hmm.
and I told you how lucky you were to be able to share that with your grandma. Because when I found out I was pregnant with Evan, my grandma had passed away before. So that
Hmm.
was something I did not get to share with her. So
Hmm.
I love the fact that grandma was able to take that up to heaven.
Exactly, for sure.
You know,
So she's our guardian angel.
heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Hmm.
She'll be out there with you guys everywhere
Hmm.
for sure. So I have no other questions for you. The main mission
Okay.
here was to just tell the story.
Hmm.
I love the support in your story. I want to encourage more families, more dads, more big sisters, little sisters, and moms to come around their athletes like this instead of living in a state of FOMO. Like, my daughter needs to play for this team. My daughter needs to play for this team. You know,
Hmm.
I
For sure.
I like how Kat Osterman talks about why you need to get bored throwing a fastball and a changeup. You don't need to be
Hmm.
10 learning all these different pitches. You need to get bored. And
Exactly.
it teaches you to stay in a lane and own what you're able to do.
Hmm.
And just
For sure.
listening to you talk today, your dad, in a very loving way, kept you in a lane to where one time you were like, I want to be done. And
Hmm.
then your dad spoke into you and didn't throw the money at you, didn't say, we spend all this money on you. I'll be
Yeah,
damned if
exactly.
you're gonna quit.
Bless
Like,
you, mama.
I love the
Bless you,
fact that
mama.
your dad didn't do that. Bless you.
Hmm.
Because now look at you.
Hmm. I know. I think
Like,
about that every day.
you're checking all the boxes for like every level of softball, Chels.
Hmm.
That's why I said there
For
is an
sure.
ESPN story coming out about you. Like
I hope so one day.
you guys are paving the way. Like, just like, the Rockford Peaches when women played
Hmm.
baseball. I feel like this group of women, it's that you guys are making history. And I know you guys know this, but you're making
Hmm.
history for my daughter's daughters, like
Hmm.
in the future, for your grandbabies.
Yes.
So, but all right, girl. Well, I appreciate both of you, your
Yes,
time.
of course,
It's
of
been so
course.
good. I've like tried not to look at her because
She's
she's just
laughing
doing a
right
little
now.
wiggle.
She's like smiling right now.
No, I know. I've been watching her. I'm like, I wonder if she can't see herself, obviously, because I know they can
She'll
only.
see herself. Yeah. I think
Well,
she thinks like you're talking to her, so she's like, "Oh, okay."
I've been watching her lips. She'll be like,
I know. She's
she's so
crazy.
cute. She is a 50-50 of both of you for sure.
Oh.
Yep.
Thank you.
I see you in her face and then I see her dad's ears.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I know, I
And
know.
I've never met him. I just from
I,
social media.
for some reason, yeah.
So, but
That's
all
funny.
right, girl. Well, I am going to let you get on your day. I appreciate your time today and just
Of
paving
course.
the way.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much for having me. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. All right, girl. We'll talk to you guys
All
later.
right.
Right.
Okay.